Good evening, Plano Camera Club. I am Kay Hargis, your judge for the 2015 August Open Competition. Photography is an art form that can be used to document the life around us, or it can be used to enhance, distort, and reinvent the way we see things. However you choose to pursue your photographic journey, it can be both rewarding and satisfying. In considering your images, I took into account three things: the impact, did I want to linger with your picture longer? Technical aspects, and the post-processing, was it all done in a way to appropriately enhance or creatively enhance the vision you wanted me to see as a viewer? Beginners category. Dandelion, score of 7. Dandelions are delicate, whimsical things to photograph. Detail is important. The light was too harsh in this image, making highlights blow out where detail is important. If the light is too bright, shade the dandelion with a piece of paper or your hand, or even move your position to shade the dandelion. This would make the processing of highlights and shadows more manageable in post-processing. Rainbow over Denali, score of 7. Who does not love a rainbow? You were right to see the potential in this scenic shot, but you worked too hard to process this image. Strange artifacts and noise lessen the impact. The rainbow has good color, but major areas in the image seem unnatural. Try rethinking the post-processing. Relaxing in Rockies, score of 8. Good composition. I like the position of the mule deer in the image. The rim lighting of the antlers is nice. The overall scene and position of the mule deer is too bright for a silhouette. That said, more detail in the deer is needed. This could be achieved by spot metering. Spot metering the deer will brighten the rest of the image, which you could adjust in post-processing. A faster shutter speed would also have caught more detail and sharpness in the grass and flowers around the deer. Mimosa, a score of 9. A classic image of a weathered boat drawn up on shore. Composition is solid, with curved diagonal lines drawing the eye back and forth in the image in a pleasing way. Your vision was of the colors, and it is a good vision, but oversaturation of the blue has created a blocking up of that color, which is unnatural. Also be careful about the black. Shadows under the boat have blocked up. Shadows often have detail you do not want to lose. Watch out for noise in the skies. Skies, because of their uniform color, will often show noise when nothing else does. It is an easy correction. Alone in the Desert, score of 9. A good choice of a Joshua tree to isolate. The clump of grass as a foreground element was a good decision. Sharpness is good from foreground to background. Black and white was a good choice for this image. Suggested improvements would be to have lowered your position to get the lower branch into the sky. Need more detail in the dark areas of the tree. Bracketing the exposure may have helped to find the right balance for shadows and midtones. Shower of color, score of 10. The technical aspects of this image are excellent. Shutter speed froze the clumps of powder. Color is bright and feels real. Depth of field captures the participants from front to back. Suggested improvement would be to move or zoom in closer, therefore capturing a smaller number of people. It would help the viewer to feel as if she or he were a part of the action, not standing on the sidelines looking in. Waterton Waterfalls, score of 10. Beautiful image of a waterfall with nice blur on the water. In brightening the bottom of the waterfall, you brought out the noise that is inherently there. Selectively select that part of the image and remove the noise. There is also a slight blur in this image. No doubt you were using a tripod. Make sure you're using the timer or a cable release to get hands off the camera. Take multiple exposures of the same image to guarantee that you have at least one sharp image. Red-eyed rooster, score of 11. Nice portrait of a rooster. Technically well done. Sharp focus on the eye. Maintained detail throughout the image. Color is natural. Good background blur. A suggested improvement is to darken the edges just slightly. Darkening the edges has a way of focusing the viewer's eye into the image. Blushing pink, score of 12. Like the oft-balanced composition of this image, selective focus and shallow depth of field adds interest. The sharp, accurate focus on the daisy center on the right is spot on. Brightness gives a high-key feel to the image. Good use of color. Nice job. Shielded by the Water Umbrella by Jack Wang, score of 12, an honorable mention. Great stop-action shot of the water. Focus right on the girl's face, as it should be, and love her expression. Little to recommend about this fast-action shot. Good capture. Snowy River Walk by Bruce Barlow, score of 13 and third place. Beautiful image of a walkway through a canyon. Composition is strong. Use of the walkway gives a leading line into the image. The yellow leaves and the red canyon walls create a nice color palette. How lucky to have a light snow to complete the serene scene. Perhaps a slight increase in contrast in the upper part of the image would make the colors slightly more vibrant. Well done. Sunflowers by Nancy Mack, score of 14 and second place. Sunflowers are always a strong subject to photograph. Composition is good. Technically, it is sharp with good color. Like the black background. Keep up the good work. Every Book About Lincoln by Leslie Johnston, score of 15 and first place. What a great image. Like the angle of view, the lines, the lighting. Keep wondering what would happen if I pulled out a book. Nicely done. Intermediate category. Cooling Off, a score of 10. Cooling Off captures the summer exploits of childhood, a delightful image of two girls enjoying a refreshing summertime activity. A faster shutter speed would have frozen the water drops with more clarity. An interesting different approach would have been to use a slower shutter speed for a blurred water effect. The pole divides the image too severely. You must look in two distinctly separate places, forcing the eye to jump back and forth rather than flowing through the image. Dallas Zoo Chameleon, score 10. A creative rendition of a lizard. Your choice of a white balance creates a monstery mood. Also interesting is your choice of spelling chameleon. This is also the spelling for an engineered green fluorescent protein. If you knew this, how very clever. I had to look it up. Not too many people would catch this subtle meaning. Placement of the lizard in the frame is good, with a nice curve from head to tail. Light level has produced a contrasty image. Edge of shadows on the right and under the head shows cyan magenta aberration, something you might want to adjust. Also, lighten the eye socket. San Francisco Bridge, score 10. The San Francisco Bridge, also known to us as the Golden Gate Bridge, is an iconic American bridge. You are in a good position to capture the expanse of this bridge. The time of day, however, created a contrasty image. You have lost detail in the sky and in the shadows of the ornamental grass in the foreground. There is perhaps too much foreground in this image. Tightening up the crop or reframing with less foreground would have made a more compelling image. Busted, a score of 10. A very creative idea, good composition and good color. However, I wish more had been in focus. The eye is always drawn to the area of sharp focus. In this image, the eye travels to the top, then to the bottom, with blurry in between. More detail throughout the image is needed. The shapes and the colors need to be appreciated, and seeing the detail would let the eye wander carefully through the image. Lantana Yum, score 10. Good capture of a swallowtail butterfly. Depth of field is good, capturing sharp detail in the butterfly and even its antennae. Composition is strong, with a strong diagonal. Background blur is good. Assuming a fast shutter speed to capture the butterfly so perfectly, a high ISO was probably used. This created considerable noise in your image. Noise reduction would benefit this image. Dallas after the floods, score 10. Great opportunity and position to photograph the skyline of Dallas. Photographed at the right time of day to still have color in the sky. Reflections in the flooding river are nice. Does have a slight blur, particularly noticeable in the center of your image. Be sure and lock down your camera, sturdy tripod, and hands off. Dawn at Rice Paddy Fields, score of 11. This image conveys a good story, good use of early morning light. Like the person moving along the wall, it gives a sense of scale. This image invokes a strong sense of time and place. Good travel shot. Ooh, a score of 11. I chuckled when I first opened this image. Great capture of a spontaneous moment. Wonder what is happening. Is it a chant or an agony of defeat moment? Exposure is good, color is good, focus is right on. Galveston Pelican, score 11. Pelicans are wonderful birds to photograph, mostly because you can capture them sitting rather still. Good side lighting and good detail throughout the image. Suggested improvement would be to crop tighter. This pelican seems to be staring at you to dare you to take his picture. Crop so that he is a more prominent element of the image. Also reduce the cyan in the sky. Blue will work just fine. Upright, score 11. Upright suggests the view 6 inches from our noses on air flights. Good total range in black and white. The focus could have been lower on the knob. Sharp detail in the focused areas. Dallas Twilight by Parvin Styles, a score of 12, honorable mention. Dallas Twilight is a good, sharp image of the Dallas skyline and the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge. Good reflections in the water. Good time of day to capture the lingering light in the sky and to capture building lights. Well done. 52 Harley by Aaron Lesher, score 13 and third place. One of the guidelines for composition is to keep it simple. Knowing when to ignore the guidelines is important too. While this image could be broken apart into more simple components, the fact that all the parts are shown together creates an image worth exploring. Good use of black and white. Well done. St. Mary Church, High Hill, Texas, by Valerie Johnson. 14 points and second place. Good use of a high center placement of the stained glass windows with the leading lines of the pews pointing to the window. Good control of the highlights and the shadows in this image. The warm tone used helps to create a quiet, reverent mood. Texture by James Hayes, a score of 15 and first place. An excellent still life. Composition is strong. Positioning and choice of objects is well chosen. Technically, almost a flawless image. The lighting is right. It's a sharp image. Keep up the good work. Advanced category. A Rose Called Promise, score of 9. Good lighting without harsh shadows. Color is appropriate, a soft rose pink. The image seems to have a soft focus. Suggested improvement would to be cropped some on the left. The image is elongated and a bit awkward. Also watch out for the lint on your sensor. You may want to clone that out. Lily Pond, a score of 10. What is most striking about this image is the perfectly still water and the reflection. It appears to have been taken on a cloudy day when there was diffused light. It is a well-chosen location, but could use more dramatic light. Hairy woodpecker, score of 10. Nice capture of this hairy woodpecker. Good detail from head to end of tail feather. The light was right so as not to have difficulty with the highlights in the bird. You seem to have cloned out something above the bird's head. You may want to smooth out those spots. Soft petal, score of 10. Good lighting on the flower with a shaded dark background. The red antlers on the stamen adds a dramatic touch of color. Exposure maintains detail in the white flower. Sunset Beach, score 11. A good shot of a brilliant beach sunset. I like the sunset appearing through the slats of the house. I'm sure the house has a story all of its own. Good use of the complementary colors, blue and yellow. I am distracted by the light bloom on the roof of the house. This can sometimes be difficult to correct, but perhaps you could minimize or soften it. Couch surfing, just another day at the beach. Score 11. I want to join this party. Detail, exposure, lighting work to make this a delightful image. Did the hotel know you dragged their couch to the beach? Forgive me if I am wrong, but I have a suspicion this is a very well done composite image or a studio shot. The warm tone of the young women is at odds with our ocean scene behind them. There are a few other small discrepant details which make me wonder. But, however it was shot or put together, it is a fun, lively image. Grand Teton Reflection by Carol Barlow, a score of 12, an honorable mention. Taken at the right time of day, good color is shown in the sky and the mountains. Love the lighting. Hyperfocal focusing captured strong and sharp detail from the front to infinity. The strongest part of this image is in the upper half. Using a foreground element can enhance an image, but in this case a patch of yellow flowers are past peak bloom. So I would suggest cropping up from the bottom. In doing so, it would also make the beautiful reflection of the mountains in the pond more prominent and give it the attention it deserves. Overall, nicely done. Hanging Around for the View by Jim Walsh, score of 13 and third place. Strong natural story in the gnarled, twisted, charred cedar trees. This image has two color palettes. One, the greens and yellows in the foreground. Two, the soft blues and reds of the canyon in the background. The image is rich in detail throughout. The colors are vibrant. Well done. Evening Walk in Melk Abbey, Austria by Bud Barlow. Score of 14 and second place. This location offered strong compositional elements and you used them dynamically. Positioning yourself to the right of the cobblestone way offered the opportunity to incorporate the repetition of the arches and to have the walkway a diagonal in the image. Maintaining and perhaps enhancing the strong yellow tint of the lights is no doubt an artistic choice. However, I do wonder if a slight desaturation of the yellow would give a softer effect. Well done. Follow Me Please by Linfred Wang, a score of 15 and first place. All elements work together to make this a compelling and heart-touching image. The composition, the framing, the colors, the defocused background, all are exceptionally well done. Good job. Master category. Harbor Ferry Score of 10. An interesting image with a lot of stories. You could have stood in the same location and taken 20 or more interesting shots. A texture seems to have been added to this image. A suggestion would be to remove it from the faces of the two women, as it gives an unnatural appearance of blemishes and shading. Vintage red, a score of 10. Like the position and angles of the key elements in this image. Good sharpness from front to back. Complementary red-green colors make this an eye-catching image. A suggestion would be to slightly desaturate these two colors. It would make the image more realistic and easier to view. Video art projection on the cathedral. Score of 10. The video art project is an interesting form of artistic expression. You were fortunate to actually see one of its displays. These projections are generally in urban settings. It appears you have cloned out parts of this image, and I wonder if they are the very parts of the image that would have put this cathedral in a time and real place. Feeding the Sharks, Atlantis Marine World, Long Island, New York. Score 11. What an opportune time to be at this exhibit. The strong colors enhance this image. I like the stop action of the top shark on the right. The motion blur in the other sharks give a sense of action taking place. Good shot. Vintage baseball. Score 11. A well-done keepsake image. Managed the shadows on the faces well. Like the placement of the bats and balls in the foreground. The touches of red add interest. You do have poles sprouting from the heads of a couple of people. Moving a little to the left may have eliminated this. Cruising Glacier Bay. Score 11. Solid composition with foreground, middle ground, and background. Good exposure, maintaining detail in the whites of the snow and glacier on the mountains. A good documentary photorealistic image of cruising Glacier Bay. Blue Glacier Iceberg at Last Light. Score 11. This is a very dramatic image. The turquoise blue color of the iceberg with the gray ocean and the white of the crashing wave all work well together. The spray of the wave hitting the iceberg looks painted, creating a rather surreal look to the image. Suggested improvement would be to crop about a quarter of the image on the right. The wave crashing on the right does not add to the story of this image. Beware of the dog. Score 11. This image makes you smile, an unplanned, spontaneous moment which is easily missed. Good to see this and capture it in a photograph. Sharp throughout the image with good detail in the pavement and the dog. Good eye to see this. Salah Mosque Sanaa, Yemen, a score of 12. A good angle of view to capture this beautiful mosque. The time of day enhances this photograph. The hazy atmosphere results in an image which appears flat. A suggestion would be to add more contrast. Good travel shot showing culture and place. The Mermaid, score of 12. Rich texture, excellent tonal range, good lighting. My first thought was that the sky was too dominating. Then reflecting on the mysterious nature of mermaids who appear, disappear, and meld with the environment around them, I decided that it was okay. So with that thought in mind, this is an excellent image, well executed. Oak in Wildcat Creek, Yosemite, score of 12. A nice image with an intimate feeling. You feel you are standing right next to this creek, just missing the sound of the rushing water, which is not difficult to imagine. The use of HDR or an HDR effect gives strong detail in the shadows and highlights and throughout the image. Good blur on the stream. Good job. Camel Thorn Trees, Dead for Nearly 1,000 Years by Maria Downey. a score of 12, and honorable mention. Very graphic. This is like looking at a silkscreen print. Powerful colors with crisp delineation between them. An awesome image. White Dome Geyser Eruption and the Milky Way by Ron Hasty, score of 12, and honorable mention. A well-done image of the night sky. Light painting the venti geyser enhances an important element in this image. Well executed and well done. Sunrise at Oxbow Bend, Grand Teton National Park by Marie Hansen, score of 13 and third place. A classic image well executed. The soft morning light, the clouds on Mount Moran, the lower clouds, the mist rising from parts of the Snake River, the reflection, the single solitary duck on the river. Luck plays a large part in nature photography, and you were at this overlook on a perfect morning. Good job. Sunset over Alamogordo by Sam Wilson, score of 14 and second place. You were in the right place at the right time with perfect weather conditions. How lucky can you get? The image instills an emotional reaction to want to bathe in the beautiful golden light. Good handling of the bright and black areas. Mask and Pearls by John Lehman, score of 15 and first place. The pose of the model, her expression, the lighting, the processing of this image is excellent. Good handling of the tonal ranges in this image. Exceptionally well executed. The best of show of the 2015 August Open Competition of the Plano Camera Club is Mask and Pearls by John Lehman. It has been my pleasure to review and judge 54 creative, unique, and wonderful pictures submitted to your open competition. My wish to you is that you have 8 hours of morning light to shoot, 8 hours of evening light to shoot, and that your camera learns to capture what you see in your mind. Good luck with your photography. Keep shooting and have fun.